Thousands turned out to lay George Floyd to rest. Protests continued across the country, and many places like Las Vegas are looking like they're almost back in business. But coronavirus cases are still on the rise in 21 states, and Dr. Fauci's ringing the alarm bell. Take a look.
Now we have something that indeed turned out to be my worst nightmare, something that's highly transmissible in a period, if you just think about it, in a period of 4 months, it has devastated the world, and it isn't over yet.
I mean, it's extraordinary. So when you really think about all this, was he right, Joy? And do you think we'll really be back in business in 2 weeks, or are we back to being in place again? What's your opinion?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say it's nice to see Dr. Fauci again. I thought he was in witness protection. And where is Dr. Birx to remind us that drinking is not a good idea? Whatever happened to the task force briefings every day? I miss Vice President Pence standing there looking petrified. We have no leadership in this country. Zero. I mean, we have state leadership, right, but we need a leadership from the White House, a real leader to have told us that the country needed to shut down for a certain amount of time so that we could get past this. Nothing was done like that. You know, if you look at New Zealand, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, she did that. She did that. And their country is free of virus. They are going out, having martinis, having dinner, going for Chinese food, and the rest of us are either locked in our houses or out there risking our health. That is what this has come to. And I feel as though I'm never going to get out of here. It's just going, I mean, I'm not suffering, but I'm still upset. And I see what's going on around me.
Right, so Fauci, okay. That's because he's saying this was my worst nightmare. Sonny, is this the first time we've heard from Fauci in a while? Was he too popular? Did people like him too much? Is that why he disappeared, you think?
Well, no, I think the reason that he disappeared is because we've stopped talking about the pandemic, right? And that inures to the benefit of Donald Trump. That's why we're not seeing these press conferences about COVID every day. It's not that the pandemic is over. There's 112,000 dead Americans due to COVID. And we know that about 1,000 Americans are dying still every single day because of COVID. Since Memorial Day, since we've reopened the economy, since we've reopened many states, there have been an increase of hospitalizations in Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, California, Oregon, Arkansas, Mississippi, Utah, and Arizona. They've been on the rise, but we are not hearing from the administration because that makes Donald Trump look bad. It hurts his chances at re-election. He'd rather sacrifice American lives than tell people what's going on. And that's why we're not hearing more about it. That's the only reason why.
Exactly.
Right. So, Megan, you think people are frustrated and ignoring the experts still? What did no one hear what Fauci had to say before he disappeared? What do you think it is?
Well, we were all listening to Dr. Fauci quite clearly, and then obviously the horrific George Floyd murder happened, and the country erupted into protests that we have been seeing for the last 2 weeks. And in that moment, I think there were a lot of experts and politicians that felt that it was maybe inappropriate or tone deaf or not the right time to be talking about the coronavirus. And unfortunately, we're in a situation that this is a lose-lose-lose situation, because one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to see a spike of coronavirus everywhere because of the massive protesting, and obviously people weren't doing social distancing when they were doing that, or there's not going to be a spike, which means that maybe we were put in our homes too long. Maybe the rules and guidelines that were put into place were too extreme, and we're being put in a position now where my really good friend Janice Dean, who's the meteorologist at Fox, she lost her father-in-law and mother-in-law within 8 days of each other of the COVID virus, and she's very upset at the idea that people still can't have funerals for their loved ones and grieve. And I think we're in a situation right now where I know know I have extreme distrust of what the government is telling me. And there was a report yesterday that asymptomatic people don't necessarily will be contracting the virus if they have it. That has been walked back and moved. I respect Dr. Fauci. I don't have a problem with Dr. Fauci. Would have loved to hear Dr. Fauci the past 2 weeks to tell some of the protesters the possible health risks that were happening in exposure in some of these cities by going out. And look, I was on this show complaining and railing against the Lake of the Ozarks spring breakers, and now I don't really know what to say because it got so much worse. And I'm one of the, look, it's hard for me to say this on this show, and I'm sure I will get heat for it, but I have a huge distrust of everyone across the board and some of the information coming out about COVID, and I want to be safe. Of course, I'm pregnant, but I also, feel like I've been fed a lot of misinformation, possibly.
Okay, well, here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that the cases are going up because still we don't know how this virus moves around. We don't know what it does. Whoever is saying it, actually people all over the country have been saying, we've got to be careful of COVID. Each in every state, California, they've all been saying it. But people folks wanted to go spring break, folks wanted to go out and protest. So now we are faced with a rising and a reemergence of COVID-19. And so it seems to me that everybody knew it was there. We bitched and moaned and said we have to open the country. We said we got to open the country, and then George Floyd's death happened. And so now, as we're trying to figure out and decide which direction we're going in, we are having to go in that direction with a whole lot more questions than we had maybe 2 months ago.